I'd like to call the meeting to order. If we could stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the June regular meeting of the District 94 Board of Education. Mission statement, please.
Community High School strives to promote and provide growth experiences in learning, leadership, and living.
Thank you, Rich. Roll call.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Ms. Casey Mayer. Ms. DeRamus.
Present.
Ms. Munoz. Mr. Nagel.
Present.
Mr. Sake. Mr. Zuniga.
And I just got a text from Gary saying that he'll be a few minutes late, so he is
Okay.
planning on coming up.
Thank you. At this point, any additions to the agenda? Hearing none, we move on to the public hearing on proposed amended 2021 to 2022 budget. So if we could have an overview.
I have no changes from the last month, so the summary is still the same as presented. We have main differences are included with changes to ESSER funding and how we're utilizing those funds and when we're going to utilize those funds, and additional CPPRT money and EBF that's coming our way. Those are the main differences.
Okay, thank you. Is there any public comment specific to the proposed amended 2021 to 2022 budget? Hearing none, any board discussion regarding the proposed amended 2021 to 2022 budget? Hearing none, the recommended motion is that the Board of Education adjourn the public hearing portion of the Board of Education meeting at 7:02 p.m.
And it's just a reminder, there's 4 copies that will need signed from everybody.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, the budget hearing is now adjourned. And at this point, we move to the fiscal year amended budget 2021 to 2022. The recommended motion is the Board of Education adopt the amended budget for the 2021 to 2022 school year as presented at the public hearing conducted on June 21st, 2022, and sign the applicable school district budget form. Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. DeRamus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz. Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Okay, that brings us to public participation. This is the portion of our meeting where any member of the public can address the Board of Education on any topic. Presentations are limited to no more than 5 minutes per person with a total time limit of 30 minutes for public participation. Personal charges or complaints against individual employees, volunteers, or students of the district should not be initiated during public comment. Due to legislative restrictions on what boards can or cannot comment on, the board does not engage in a dialogue during public participation, but will listen to concerns and, where appropriate, direct the administration to follow up. We have received 2 public participations electronically. The first one is from Dr. Beth Tipton, and the topic is gun problems at school. This is a letter that I sent to the principal right after the gun incident at WeGo. Dr. Dwyer, I wanted to thank the administrators for acting quickly and handling the situation with the firearm in the school. However, I feel that more safety measures need to be immediately put in place, particularly given that the school might not have known until a tragedy occurred, given that a person's informing the school was the only way it was discovered. Firstly, I believe the student in possession of the weapon should be expelled. This is a major infraction that threatened the lives of students and staff, and there really is no recovery from that. It goes without saying that the student should not be permitted on school property or allowed to attend school-sponsored events such as prom. Secondly, I've been saying for a long time that the school should have metal/weapons screenings at all entrances. Given the lax attitude in this country towards gun safety, we can only assume that this will happen again. God willing, not with worse consequences. I would very much appreciate knowing how the administration plans to follow up on this emergency. Thank you, Dr. Beth Tipton. And the second one is from Jenny Fleming, and the topic is school safety. Thank you for having the police chief and the SRO at your June 7th meeting. The discussion showed that the administration, BOE, and West Chicago Police Department are as concerned about school safety as the parents and students. Since April 22nd, we hadn't heard updates on school security from anyone. I would like to see more communication from the administration this summer and ongoing, as the first day of school will be here before we know it. Several of the questions I have after watching the recording of the June 7th meeting are: could you have conversations throughout the school year with the students about your expectations of their behavior, their responsibility to see something, say something, and the need to look out for one another? Can we incorporate the Sandy Hook promise into our school? Can we install sensors on every door? Are there cameras in the classrooms? Aside from these questions, how are we going to support the excellent counseling staff at WeGo in changing the social-emotional temperature of our student body? As amazing as our counselors and social workers are at their jobs, they cannot do it alone. I think we and many other high schools across the nation have lost the level of respect needed to ensure that our high school community is functioning properly. We have lost our commitment to demanding expectations, meeting deadlines, and following through with consequences. We allow students to keep their hoods up during the school day so they feel more comfortable, but this allows them to stay isolated and disconnected from their teachers and peers. We allow students to keep their earbuds in during the school day, staying isolated and disconnected from their teachers and peers. We allow students to keep their phones during class, staying isolated and disconnected from their teachers and peers. I want WeGo to be the school that asks students to take off their hoods, take out their earbuds, put down their phones, look people in the eye, and engage with the humans around them. Only then can we begin to see the struggle that some students are facing and help them. At this point, is there any other public comment? All right. Hearing none. That brings us to reports and information. Superintendent's report.
Good evening. A few items to share with the board tonight. With regards to FOIA requests, the district did receive 3 FOIA requests. One was from FOIA Warrior, requesting emails originating outside of the district to administration regarding critical race theory or transgender topics. Another FOIA request was from Calvin Lansbury for information regarding benefits for administrators. And then the third FOIA request was from Smart Procure for purchasing records. I emailed the board a couple weeks ago about the board retreat dates, the possibility of those dates, and just wanted you to know that I am still waiting for Giovanni to reply back, but as it stands, it looks like it'll be either September 26th, which is a Monday, or September 27th, which is a Tuesday. It'll be one of those 2 dates. Those are the dates that are available for everyone else. Couple items to share for Will, actually, since he is not here, so I will take it upon myself to share this for the board and with the board. The building has been busy with summer activities. We have had quite a few athletic camps for baseball, boys and girls basketball, football, boys soccer, boys and girls cross country, girls volleyball, cheer, and softball. So they have been occurring or are currently underway. Summer school has started for our students as well. We have 371 students signing up for summer school program. As Will reported last month, Lehman Middle School will be using our rooms in the math wing for their summer school program this summer. All of their equipment and supplies have been dropped off, and their students will start their summer school program here on Thursday. And then lastly, the student attendance and discipline report is included in your packet. And that concludes my report.
A quick question. For all the summer camps and things, how much do we use the athletic field, the stadium field?
All the time. So,
Or many different
correct,
activities?
correct. Yeah, and the summer camps were also open to our feeder districts as well. So, yeah, we had a baseball practicing on there, obviously not sliding and running around, but just doing their general camp activities, track, cross country, yeah, football.
It might be good, because we do get comments about, the money we spend for a football field, to acknowledge how many different activities for all the different clubs and teams and things that we're using the field for.
As a summary or like a full list? Because that would be, we would have to go through and,
Generically,
okay,
just to offset the impression that
okay,
all that happens out on that field is boys' football.
Sure.
Which we know is not true, but would be good for the community to get an understanding of.
yeah, as Will reported in his last update in May, we allowed the feeder track and field events to occur here in the end of May, and that was a huge event as well. So we can definitely try to generate a summary list of all the activities that occur out there. Yep,
Just so that there's something on the record that shows that there are many different activities, extracurricular as well as curricular, that take place on the field.
Okay, Director of Business Services report.
Thank you. Just a couple of items to update the board on. An update on the 2021 tax levy receipts. We've already received more than 50% of our 2021 tax levy. Normally, we would receive maybe about 49.5% or so. And we're also expecting another receipt on June 30th, although it's not expected to be a large one. As a cash basis district, this will sway our cash balances in June to look really high and lower those cash balances for next year. I don't expect it to really affect our this year's budget or next year's budget. Just wanted the board to be aware of that, as the ending surplus for this year is going to look a bit out of whack. Secondly, as Olson Roofing is working on the roof right now, it was noted that the installation of the flashing 20 years ago was done incorrectly, which likely led to the roof deteriorating quicker than expected. As such, the flashing needs to be replaced, which will include repair of masonry around the flashing, and is also outside the scope of capabilities for Olson Roofing. This work will need to be completed while Olson Roofing is finishing up or shortly thereafter to ensure it's completed by the time school starts in August. Olson is expected to be completed by July 15th at the absolute latest, and the masonry work is expected timeline is about 2 weeks. So we've been able to secure 3 quotes pretty quickly on that, ranging between $49,000 and $58,000. So we're currently reviewing those quotes with DLA, making sure that they match the specifications that we requested. And as you see in the agenda under new business, we're looking to secure one of those contractors and get that board approved tonight.
The installation was not done to design. Is that?
I'm not sure if it was not done to design. I know that project was done rather quickly before school started. And so I don't know if that was a reason why it was not done correctly, or I'm unsure of the reason of why.
Is there anything that we're doing now that wasn't done then to make sure that things are being done correctly at this point?
But we're going to install the flashing correctly.
I mean, what are we doing to, I assume the intention back then was to install it correctly, so are we doing anything different supervision-wise to make sure that it gets done correctly?
Well, we're working with DLA. DLA is working closely with Olson Roofing. Olson Roofing they're the ones that suggested it. That they're pretty certain that doing this kind of work is going to be beneficial and make sure that roof lasts as long as it's supposed to.
I mean, in the end, since it is going to be a separate project in a sense that's attached to this, we will make sure that's done correctly. And Bill Templin is aware too, so the architects will be on site to make sure that it's done the right way.
I mean, it is concerning that money was spent 20 years ago for a project that apparently was not done correctly, that's now costing us money now, and obviously there's not much we can do about that, but we certainly want to make sure that something like that does not reoccur.
Correct.
Okay, Director of Human Resources.
All right. Although the summer may be a downtime for much of the school system, our HR office is already busy preparing for the new school year. We are currently in the process of scheduling the flexible summer orientation day with new certified faculty members and planning the 3-day structured orientation program for August. In addition, you'll note in the personnel and separation reports provided at table that we continue recruiting and hiring certified, confidential, administrative, and support staff, as well as coaches and sponsors for 22-23. I'm very excited to introduce you to our recommended candidate for the Director of Specialized Services position, Ms. Kelly Britton. Kelly, if you'll please stand. Ms. Britton brings 15 years of administrative experience to West Chicago. Most recently, she has served as the Assistant Principal for Student Services at St. Charles East High School for 8 years, where she directly oversees the Special Education Department, social workers, psychologists, and crisis workers. Previous to that, Ms. Britton was the Site Director of the North Cook Young Adult Academy for 2 years and was Dean of Students in Wheeling School District 21. She holds both Director of Special Education and General Administrative endorsements from Northern Illinois University. Ms. Britton is passionate about ensuring that every student is provided what they need to reach their individual potential. Interestingly, she also co-founded a not-for-profit orphanage in Mexico for children with special needs called Eternal Anchor, which she visits each summer. We're proud to recommend her employment and know that she'll be a great addition both to the administrative team and to the special education division. Thank you so much. And that concludes my report.
Right. Thank you for that. That brings us to committee and representative reports. Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee.
We actually had a really good meeting. We spoke a lot about new initiative, obviously focused on the student initiative that Dr. Dwyer is spearheading, but it was definitely a lot of valuable conversation with some new parents that came. And then obviously the student representatives, which I was definitely blown away by their poise, their the information that they shared, their view of how to support a strong student body as far as climate and culture goes. So definitely, we definitely have some good dialogue to move into for next year. Obviously, one of the biggest thing is the addition with Ms. Winton. I think she brings a fresh and new take on what it's going to take to feel that all of our students are representative and welcomed.
All right. Thank you for that update. Is there any update from SACID? Hearing none, that brings us to future dates. We will have a regular Board of Education meeting on July 19th. There will not be a COW meeting in July, so the next meeting will be July 19th. We will have a Committee of the Whole meeting on August 2nd and a regular Board of Education meeting on August 16th. At this point, is there any open comment from board members? Hearing none, any future issues? Hearing none, that brings us to consent agenda. Does anyone wish any items removed from the consent agenda? Okay, then. I would move approval of the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes from the regular Board of Education meeting from May 17th, the closed session Board of Education meeting from May 17th, the Committee of the Whole meeting from June 7th, approval of financials, including current expenditures, impressed fund statement, treasurer's report, statement of position / financial report, statement of revenue / expenditures, year-to-date ending May 31st, 2022, year-end budget / actual report, grant reports, petty cash fund report, student activity account fund balance, new vendors monthly report, quarterly financial reports, and board conference travel expenditures. The personnel report as presented at table, the review of closed session minutes as presented, the destruction of closed meeting audio recordings as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye. All right, there being no old business, that brings us to new business, separation of employment. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the following: the resignation of the following individuals effective at the end of the 2021 to 2022 school year: Crystal Cabral, Program Assistant, World Languages Division; Samuel Delamater, Program Assistant, Student Services Division, Timothy Dovici, Teacher, Special Education Division, Yosenia Martinez, Counselor, Counseling Division, Akta Naik, Teacher, Math Division, Nicole Osborne, Teacher, Language Arts Division, and Pamela Pater, Teacher, Physical Development Division. The resignation of Leslie Soto, Personal Care Assistant, Special Education Division, effective May 24th, 2022. The resignation of Madison Gill, Personal Care Assistant, Special Education Division, effective July 14th, 2022. The retirement of Lori Majkrowski, Personal Care Assistant, Job Coach, Special Education Division, effective July 31st, 2022. And the retirement of Rodolfo Mendoza, Program Assistant, World Languages Division, effective September 19th, 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Sig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Okay, next item is the West Chicago High School Support Staff Association Memorandum of Understanding. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the Memorandum of Understanding with the West Chicago High School Support Staff Association.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Casey Mayer. Oh, sorry, Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
That brings us to miscellaneous wages. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve miscellaneous wages as presented in the packet.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel. Mr. Sig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
That brings us to IASB draft policies. So we will be doing a first reading on these policies. The final approval will be at the next regular meeting. And because we're doing this as, it would have been normally committee of the whole, but we're doing this as a regular meeting, so this first reading is definitely an ideal opportunity if anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns about these policies so that we can get that answered, looked into, and resolved before the next meeting. So the recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve changes to the following policies for a first reading: 2:230, 3:70, 4:70, 5:70, 5:80, 5:110, 5:140, 5:240, 6:70, 6:80, 6:140, 6:290, 7:15, and 7:285, and finally 7:270. So looking for a motion to approve a first reading.
So moved.
These are all 5-year updates.
They're not all 5-year updated, no. When I provided the log to the board, I checked off which ones were the 5-year updates and which one were legal references and/or language change.
Okay, but all driven by.
Well, a couple of them had some substance to them, though, didn't they? Most of
Well-
them did not, though.
If I were to go, if I'm looking really quickly right now, I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 of the policies were 5-year review, so those are pretty perfunctory. And then you have quite a few, and it's hard for me to tell. I have to go look at the policies that were just legal reference updates. I can count really quickly if you'd like.
They were all recommended.
They were recommended
updates,
to accept,
that's-
yeah,
that's-
correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's correct.
That's what I thought.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, yes, we do. This is our opportunity to go into detail on them. We can go in, we can dig in as detailed as we'd like. Is there anything that you'd like to dig into? Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel. Mr. Sig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Doremus.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
That brings us to Technology Center of DuPage Intergovernmental Agreement. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the intergovernmental agreement as presented in the packet.
So moved.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Ramos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
That brings us to College of DuPage Memorandum of Understanding. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the Memorandum of Understanding with the College of DuPage as presented in the packet.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Who wrote that, Moses?
That was drafted by the College of DuPage, and Will provided a draft of that last month, I believe. And then there were some minor updates that were made to that, and what you have in the board pack is the final.
I'll just say it's very exciting that we're moving into an era of closer cooperation with the College of DuPage. I think that's a wonderful thing for our students. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ramos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel. Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye. That brings us to amended 2022 to 2023 school calendar. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve late start Mondays except for September 19th and November 28th, 2022, and April 24th, 2023 for the 2022 to 2023 school year.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Ramos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
That brings us to swim cooperative intergovernmental agreement. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the intergovernmental agreement between West Chicago High School, Batavia High School, and Geneva High School as a swim cooperative.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Ramos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz. Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
That brings us to driver's education simulators. The recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 14 driving simulators from Virtual Driver Interactive, El Dorado Hills, California, for a total cost of $134,440, which includes a network package, instruction station, installation, and training.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Seems like we're always buying drivers that out, or because they just go out of date and maintained.
This is based on enrollment of the amount of students that we have in classes that we just need additional.
These are additional, not
Yeah.
replacement.
Correct.
How many do we have right now?
14. This
That's
doubles it.
14. I think in 2018 it was 16. I'd have to get back to you on that to double check that number, but
It's either 14 or 16. When talking to Nick Perry, he needed double the number of simulators. And Rich, what you're thinking of was probably around 8 years ago when the driver's ed room flooded and it wiped out our 1960s simulators. And then we had to look for a new way to obviously provide that driving simulation. And Nick Perry found the one that we use now. So that purchase was made then, and then with the increased enrollment, we're needing to add these to be able to get as many of our students into that program as possible.
Doubling, is that a bubble, or is that something that we're going to maintain for a while?
It'll be here for a few more years and looking at the enrollment. And it's always good as enrollment drops in any case, it's always good to have extras, just in case one of them, has an issue, we can always replace that. But this definitely is for the next couple of years.
Does this include support as well?
Yeah.
So if there's
It's the
a
same,
problem-
and it's the same one we've been using, so it's the exact same model, which we're fortunate to be able to do.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Ramos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel. Mr. Sake.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye. That brings us to kitchen roof flashing replacement. The recommended motion that the Board of Education authorize administration to procure a contractor for the replacement of flashing and repair of masonry work on the north and east sides of the building by the kitchen roof.
So moved.
Any discussion?
Are we gonna set like a not to exceed for that, or just whatever it comes in?
So as I mentioned in my report, the three quotes that we have currently, it's between $49,000 and $58,000. And we're taking a look at those quotes to make sure that they meet all the specifications that DLA is looking to have.
So we're basically authorizing one of the three quotes without necessarily setting a dollar amount at this point.
Correct.
Essentially, then you're going to analyze them and recommend the lowest one that meets the requirements that we have, or what is your intention as you look through them?
Correct. We'll once assuming that the $49,000 one meets all the recommendations and specifications that we want, then we'll move forward with that. I know this is a little abnormal in our as we approve things, but with them needing to start that project as soon as the roofing's over with, and with our next meeting being July 18th. We didn't really have time to wait until then. We needed to get that started as soon as possible.
And we don't have any add-ons or anything.
No.
Part of the consideration will be who can move the fastest, not necessarily be the,
Quality.
meet our schedule.
That'll be one of the considerations, correct?
Part of the spec.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
Mr. Nagel.
Aye.
Mr. Saig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Amos.
Aye.
That brings us up to new garage storage facility, and as a heads up, there are going to be two recommended motions tied to this same item. The first recommended motion is that the Board of Education authorize administration to procure a garage kit from Menards at a cost not to exceed $13,000.
So moved.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Who's going to get the rebate on that?
Be a nice rebate.
It'll be a
It's gotta
very
Put
nice
it on my
rebate.
Menards
It's
card.
got to fit in a bag, Rich. The garage has to fit in the bag, so.
A lot of that is going to go probably put back into that garage for insulation and drywall, things like that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nagel. Mr. Saig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Amos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz.
Aye.
The second recommended motion is that the Board of Education approve the proposal from Miller Concrete, West Chicago, Illinois, in the amount not to exceed $20,630 to install a concrete base, and the proposal from AMG Custom Home Builders, West Chicago, Illinois, in the amount not to exceed $11,900 to assemble the garage kit.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Amos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz. Mr. Nagel. Mr. Saig.
Aye.
That brings us to new display cases. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve the proposal from Warehouse Direct Displays, Illinois for display cases in the amount not to exceed $42,914.73, including installation.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Saig.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Amos.
Aye.
Ms. Munoz. Mr. Nagel.
Before we turn the page, I just wanted to clarify, for the kitchen roof flashing, we are going to review the bids, the proposals, and then we will procure the contractor and have them start right away based on what's going to happen. So I just want to make sure the board was clear on that, because we need to start that work as soon as possible. Okay.
Thank you for the clarification.
I got a question on the garage. Does that include power, electric coming in there and everything?
Yes.
And who's doing that?
That is, I believe that's the contractor that we have coming in to put that building together.
So they're subbing it out to electrical contractor then? Or the-
We're contracting with, was AMG Custom Home Builders to do that work.
And they're doing the electric. Power company have to bring electric to that site,
No,
or is there's electric there already?
they'll be coming off of the concession stand.
Power coming into the concession stand to run a garage then?
So I've been told.
By DLA? Or
By our
the
maintenance manager.
AMG? By maintenance?
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to supplemental furniture order approval. The recommended motions that the Board of Education approve the proposal from Warehouse Direct Des Plaines, Illinois, in the amount not to exceed $43,409.26, including installation.
Moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Is that ESSER money, or is that O&M money?
That's O&M money.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. DeRamus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel?
Aye.
Mr. Sake?
Aye.
That brings us to Student Travel Fall National High School Journalism Convention. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve student travel for journalism/Wildcat Chronicle to St. Louis, Missouri from November 10th to November 13th, 2022.
So
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll pick.
I'm really excited about this event. I think it's going to do amazing things for the Chronicle. I'm really excited about all the articles that they've been putting out, and I think they have a really good momentum. And I think some time back it wasn't as strong as it is now, so I'm really excited about that.
It's a great thing to see student travel actually happening again. It's been a long 2 years.
Agreed.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Munoz? Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. DeRamus?
Aye.
Speaking of student travel, that brings us to student travel Spain exchange trip. The recommended motion that the Board of Education approve student travel for the World Languages Department to Soria, Spain, Nuestra Senora del Pilar Escalapios from March 23rd through April 3rd, 2023.
Grade them. Don't grade them.
I did my best.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. DeRamus?
Aye.
Ms. Munoz?
Aye.
Mr. Nagel? Mr. Sake?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye. All right, that concludes the business for our regular meeting. We will be going into executive session. There will not be any action taken after executive session. So at this point, the recommended motion is to adjourn to executive session regarding collective negotiating matters.
Second.
Roll call, please.